Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a stockpile deck that I put together for 10.3. Now, there are definitely a couple little changes you could make as like a personal preference thing, but I really enjoyed it this way. I experimented with a lot of different versions. At one point I had a Kaedweni Revenant in there, right? I don't mind having something like this at all. I had for a little bit a Muzzle in there, and at one point I had the Radovid taken out in replacement for that Muzzle, and I found Radovid is just really good when it works. However, it does get answered oftentimes, so more than often you might just get the deployability, but if they answer Radovid, then they can't answer other things, and it kind of works out that way. But I don't mind switching it up and grabbing maybe a Muzzle instead. Everything else I'm pretty comfortable with, because some things we can't remove, so a lock feels pretty good. Reinforcements is nice for the resupply, but it's also nice at getting some more engines out there, so I was really fond of this. In one of my first versions of the deck I had a Dahlia, but it just came down to provisions, which is why I made the cut. So again, reinforcements is like a budget way to go about that. You'd be surprised how much value we're getting from things like frigates, so I probably wouldn't sub that out. It's good because now we don't have to play as many soldiers because we have a card like this. So we'll go through the list though from the top. So it starts off with Siege. Now, Siege is a scenario, so it's going to have a prologue. When we put this card down, it's going to play a Reinforced Trebuchet. So at the end of our turn, damage random enemy unit on a range roll by 1, crew damage random unit by 1 instead. So setting up crew for that would be able to just make sure it hits either row. However, we normally have units on range that it'll just hit anyways, so it's not all that important with this one. Chapter 1, when we play our first Siege engine, we're going to be getting a Battering Ram. So this card here moves to the melee row, does 3 damage to the highest enemy unit. Crew, we could choose what, unit to damage. It has a cooldown of 2. It moves back and forth to range. When it moves to range, it doesn't do anything. I opted out of playing the Battering Rams in deck for this version. I decided to go with the Caraballistas instead, but I do think Battering Rams are pretty good cards. So in that 5 provision slot, you can put whatever you want. I think they both get some pretty good value. It's just you don't have to worry too much when you're playing frigates about cramming the melee row and then having something move up into it, which is why in this version with the frigate, I opted for the Caraballistas. I just felt like it was a bit smoother. Now, when we spawn in like the last chapter of the scenario here, we're going to be getting a bombardment. So split 4 damage randomly between all enemy units, increase the damage by 1 for each siege engine you control. So you could go and maybe put down 1 or 2 before you run the scenario, just so that you have a little bit of a board state established to get more value off the bombardments. However, sometimes you'll find it's kind of greedy, so I recommend maybe just trying to jam them down quickly and just get that siege payoff from the bombardment, and then after the fact you could put down a couple more and play the bombardments from hand. That seems to be kind of the smoothest way through trial and error to play it, in my opinion, but overall plays for a lot of points this scenario. And I did try playing without it. I said, what if Siege is a trap? What if we just do like a really greedy deck without Siege? We can add a Dahlia, Muzzle, and all the works. And I felt like it just doesn't quite add up to having Siege in the deck. So even if it sometimes gets heat waved, it's still better to have it, I think, than to not have it. But moving on to Amphibious Assault here, it has Echo, so we can play it twice throughout the match. Play a Northern Realms unit from your deck with a provision cost of 9 or less. Boost it by 1 for each provision below the limit. So more than often, you're going to be going for something in the bronze end, right? Whether it be a frigate, it could be like Caraballista, Reinforced Ballista, like any of these types of things. We never grab Siege Masters because those thin from hand, right? Siege Tower is not bad for Point Slam and Engine. Sometimes we might find ourselves going for Chariot or Margarita, but generally you don't need to. Obviously, the further down you go, the more it boosts the card, so it's kind of a goal to have it as low as possible, but it's a pretty flexible card overall. And that's that. Henselt for consistency. You'll notice this deck doesn't have Raffords because I don't like playing Rafford's Vengeance in a deck that has Stockpile. I just find, okay, now we have to put a defender down, and then, if they purified defender and answered Raffords, is it really better? Not really, you know what I mean? So for the 10 provisions, we got a little bit more creative with it here. I probably just wouldn't put Raffords unless you're playing Inspired Zeal. But yeah, consistency is really important with having Henselt here because we don't have Raffords especially, but also it synergizes with a lot of things in the deck. So play a crew unit from your deck. Whenever an adjacent unit's cooldown decreases, boost health by the same amount, right? So we have 1 here, 2, we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9 cards with cooldown in the deck that are going to be working with Henselt. And we have a couple cards to reduce cooldown, like the winches. And we have our 3 leader charges and potentially even 5, right? If we can pull off the full Radovid. 4 are pretty well guaranteed if we just pull the card. That's all, you know? So Henselt could climb up to a really scary number. Like, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Henselt play for like 15 points or something like that in a longer round, because we get a lot of cooldowns from, like I said, leader and winches and stuff. So it just feels like a good card to have. This, along with Amphibious, and then the 2 Siege Masters for thinning is fine. Usually we get down to around 4 or 5 cards by the end of the game. John Natalis also helps for thinning, so I don't think that you need more than that. Raffords could just be a trap in this case, so I like it the way it is. Heatwave, I had to choose. I have a lot of engine removal, so I decided if I had to pick one of 2, I think Karathi is more important than Muzzle, because we're going to be running into a lot of scenario play. So to be able to answer a scenario in a mirror match or in the Elves match or something like that seems important to me, and that's why we went for it here. But otherwise, a very tall unit or a defender, something that's difficult to get around, we can go and take it out with that, right? Radovid, pretty simple. So if the base version of our leader has more than 1 charge, give it an additional charge, or to repeat the deployability. So we're getting 2 extra leader charges there, plus 6-point body. I felt like it was pretty fair because it's more than just 10 points, right? It's the synergy with the Henselt cooldown, with the added damage that we get from resetting the cooldown, whether it's, you know, any of our engines here, right? So I felt like it does kind of have a higher point ceiling than something like Muzzle, but if you're not having good luck with this, you maybe want to opt to swap for Muzzle, that's fine, right? Full Test Pride makes a lot of sense with this leader, especially because it's really easy for us to get crew from the leader. So Zeal, order, damage an enemy unit and 2 adjacent units to it by 1. So we're getting the 2 plus the 2, 1 on each side. We're getting 4 damage off this card. Cooldown of 4, cooldown of 2 if we have crew. It's sometimes difficult with the deck to get crew when we first play it, but there's ways to go about it. Like, we can go and put 1 soldier down, then play this, then use a leader charge to the right of it, and then that's going to help set up crew pretty effectively. So it's not impossible to do that, right? It might take that extra little leader charge, but we have so many of them that it's not really all that important. Of course, John being able to pull into any warfare card that we need at any time that we need it. We have Amphibious Assault, we have Reinforcements, we have Boiling Oil, we have the Bombardments and the Winches, right? So really flexible card here. We can just pretty much pull whatever we need when we need it, right? Simple. And War Chariot's kind of a cool card. I think it's important to have some type of movement tech because a lot of decks have something that's going to be row locked. So to be able to push it to the other row is important, but also to get the extra 4 damage, you know, throughout the round by bleeding that we could put on it if it has crew. That's also important. Cooldown of 3 fits quite well into the winch. It also can be, you know, single turn taken care of with our leader charges if we just want to blow them all in 1 turn. So I like War Chariot for that reason. Talked about Reinforcements. Basically just spawn and play a base copy of Bronze Allied units, so we can pick whatever we need there. Just a lock here. This card's awesome because Resupply is going to reset the order, right? So whenever we play a Warfare card the same turn, we get the extra, you know, spawn of a volunteer. And that's basically what it does, right? It has a cooldown of 2. If we have crew, it has a cooldown of 1. We can just jam a row full of tokens off the frigate. I didn't think it was necessary to run 2 of these because we do have Reinforcements, but I think that board space is pretty valuable as well, and if we had 2 of them going off at the same time, I think we'd quickly run out of space. A couple Boiling Oils just for, you know, removal. Talked about the Bombardments as well, just getting that removal reach. This is good into Swarm matchups as well, so those things here, and then just some good engines to go with it. Resupply off the Caraballista, so it has the same sort of attribute as like the frigate here, maybe being able to reduce that cooldown on the same turn, potentially use it twice on the same turn, and of course just damage an enemy by 2. This is the same thing, but damage an enemy by 1 with a cooldown of 1, a little bit less of a cooldown, and then of course these are just for thinning, so reduce an allied unit's cooldown by 1, and when you play a siege engine, summon self from hand and draw a card. So that's pretty nice. If we have both of them in hand like round 1, extreme thinning, really good tempo, and we can really take off that way, and it just helps us get a board state established with all our engines. And we talked about Winch, and pretty much the last one here. Siege Tower is just a good value card. It plays better in like a long round, but you can use it in like a mid round as well. So it has Zeal, Order, gain Vitality by 2. If you have Crew, boost health by 2 instead, cooldown of 2. You really want to have Crew if possible, because the boost is so much quicker than the Vitality. You can stack Vitality, but you really just want to have like boost, 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 right? So look at it that way. And so for today, I played 4 games, and we did pretty well. One of the games that I played was actually against one of the decks that I made. If you guys haven't checked it out, I'll make sure to put it as the card for this video. It's to my Skellige deck, and it was a very close match, but good game to them. But for the rest of them here, it kind of shows you how the deck plays, and if I had more time to play more games today, I definitely would, but I think that this deck's feeling pretty good so far, and I'm pretty comfortable with it, pretty confident with it as well. So that's that. If you guys enjoy the content you see on the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you tomorrow with another video. We're back to the regular upload schedule, so stay tuned for that. See you then. Alright, this should be a good one. We have Mahakam Forge up first. So Hensel, let's pull him into Frigate. And let's get rid of these because we have 2. That's not bad. If it's dwarves, we might be able to actually kill something off and maybe purify like any sort of resilience they have, so boiling oil could just be really good here. It's funny because like I decide not to use Muzzle for Radovid, and then we play something where like Muzzle would just be really good. I think we'll just go and try and get some tempo here. Now, it's hard to say, like Barricade end turn boost self whenever you play Dwarf, so it'll still boost on ranged, so maybe it's not worth taking care of. Something like that should be okay, right? I don't want to lock it because I feel like there's going to be a more important lock.
We'll pay men back for their persecution.
It's tough. I think we take these for Vitality because I don't want to jam my row for no reason. We'll just give it some time to turn on here. Hopefully they hit off armor a couple times. Right? That's not bad. So far, so good. And I think we actually do want to play a Carbalista on... That's like a really... it's out of boiling reach, though. Here, we'll put this down because I think it's important. Everything else melee is fine. That's horrible. That's like the worst ping we can get, I think. Radovid's actually not bad. If we're not going to win the round, maybe we'll just take carryover, right? So they hit us with the muzzle here. I still think we're fine to play. 42. We're not really getting a good bombardment if you think about it. Maybe it's something we just play anyways. They take thinning. Yeah, so I'm just not convinced to pass yet. Excuse me. Trying to hold the sneeze in. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll play here. At least there's something we can hit. They're getting 2 per turn. We're getting 1 for the next turn, plus this here. Pretty big play. Plus 8. 61. You know, I wonder. I think we actually can afford to heatwave this. Just because we also have the lock for Brewer. So we got to remove that. By the way, I messed up an opportunity to click this. We lost a cooldown, but I don't think it matters at this point in the round. But if you're playing around with a couple cards in your hand, be careful in that situation. Okay, so we got it. It wasn't too expensive, right? The Frigate really helped us clean up here. Frigate and Hensel took it. They played a lot of cards, so I don't feel bad about it. I think we try and play. Depends on what we pull, right? Reinforcements is kind of scary here. Boiling oil is not much better. It's not an optimized hand. Here. Let's just play something like that. I don't know if we care necessarily about this. So they played Muzzle. They could be going for like a double heat wave. I think that we can just honestly just push it back for the sake. Just crank a winch for the points and just go here. Like, seeing Francesca's pretty good. Maybe they're running... Oh, it's not Shoop. It's got to be like a heat wave or something. Or double O'Nero, actually, if you think about it. Because that was the last one they played, yeah? Yarpin. 10 and 22. Yeah, I think what we're supposed to do is just play this because it's, you know, something to play. And then we can try and get that last card out of them, or second to last card. We're getting, like, the panic plays out of the way, so I think it was worth it to play into the round, even though it was a poor, like, round for us. We didn't really have the hand we wanted. Saving the lock feels important. 35. There's no way we're going to get 20-odd points. Yeah, we'll just pass here. That's fine. We have the advantage of having leader, and they don't. We just have to pull a couple cards here. Like, John would be awesome. Obviously, Scenario would be incredible. I think we can win it without Scenario, though. Okay. Perfect. So, John into Amphibious, into Ballista, pulls this out. We put this back. There we go. Let's just stop it. where it stands kind of thing. I think that's the play.
A wee hint. Dinna jiggle us.
Problem here is that I have like, we don't have a huge chance to proc the scenario, but it's close. Like, I pulled John here, and we go Amphibious into, like, I think we could pull another one, but it's hard to say, you know? Let's see. Ah, it's a Boiling Whale. It should be fine regardless. Yeah. They played, so I suppose we just kind of show them what's going on. There you go. Alright, for the second game here, we got a mirror match. Stockpile versus Stockpile. I'm rooting for Stockpile. Now, we really gotta, like... I think we have to push. I really think round control is important in this instance. Copying the frigate's kind of powerful. I think we can afford to put it back, pull it out, and that might secure round one. Do I want Siege, though? I think we might have to play pretty deep into the round, so I'm going to put Siege back for now, just because we're going to be drawing so many cards with John and the Siege Masters, right? I think it's whoever wins this round wins the game, but I got to win on even, which is like the big thing. Because if I can gem my scenario before their scenario... Do we ever just... I see, I see. Here, let's go for it. We can play... that. And then we can get that. Get that. We'll copy it, put it on the melee row. We've got crew. This is something we want to get rid of course. It's going to be difficult to, though. We could lock it. Maybe that's what we do. Maybe we actually take a lock on that, because that can engine for quite a few points. Just cycle out the whole deck and everything, so... So they're going for the hen cell? That's fine.
Trouble approaches.
So thirsty for it, too. They're at 5, so I don't know if we have to worry too much about it just yet. We might have some time to get rid of it. This is probably something we want to get rid of. Here. Can't underestimate the frigate. Like, this thing gets pretty wild. We'll lock it on the next turn. And then I think we need to find some space to... Yeah, we'll find some space for the Carbalista. But first, we gotta get rid of this. Or lock it at least. Using leader fills row. I don't know if we want to do that. They probably have a winch in hand. I don't think they're running a Purify. Most of these siege decks don't have Purifies. I also don't think they pass here. Okay.
Please, I'm just a messenger.
So I was thinking about... I was thinking about taking the Carabalista, but I kind of want to stay ahead. If I was to go into... Actually, no, it's going to be War Chariot. We want to push that up to the melee row, take this away, and also get some bleeding going because it's a long round. So... I don't think we click just yet. Just because, like, I want to have the option to play something on the other row. Because we need this on the row at least, right? We need the crew to make it actually, like, good. And then that just keeps us ahead. Yeah, we get really good engine value too if we just take winches on that. But I think what we're supposed to do first is take the reinforcements so we can start getting the frigate value. Play beside John. Yeah. Then it's just like a bunch of warfare cards. Hopefully they get rid of something on the back row so we can fit the Carabalista. But if it means taking away one of them by playing this here, like, I'm willing to just be okay with that back row being filled. I suppose that's fine. Okay, so we got... Yeah, we gotta take this soon. They go down to 36. We're at 36. I think it's going to be too difficult for them to give up the opportunity to take Radovid, so they're going to play. Yeah. And then we just try and get as much value as we can off our specials. The only thing we have to be careful for, though, is them maybe having Heatwave to punish the Chariot after we boosted it twice. So this works out well. If I take a winch the next turn... Oh my gosh. Here's what we'll do. Click. Click that. Winch that. Click that. Is it vampires or stockpile? We've got another winch too. So I think pretty much whatever they play here, unless they start spending leader charges like crazy, they're still going to be behind because we get the 3 points here at the end of this turn on the play. Like this, if they, yeah. So they're still in a spot where they have to play yet a second time. Actually, do we 4 and 2 guarantee? Nah. I was going to say, I think we just went on even. 3, 6, 9. Yeah, we're good with that. Now, it's tough bleeding a mirror, but if there's one thing I know, it's that we want to get our scenario down before theirs. So, if I can pull into this magically, we should just be okay. No. Here. What about that? Maybe winch stays, this goes. Okay, not quite. A lot of good cards, but not the ones we need. Maybe we just try and trade. So we spent, and so we spent a little bit more on the gold side than they did.
Destiny's unswerving. Cheating. It will not be.
We're starting to see the panic moves. I like that. So probably just formation. We can winch that if it stays alive, and then we can just remove it. I have a feeling like they're going to take it out, but I took out Raffords because I don't love floating Raffords. And unless you have it on blue coin with a TA or skull, it's not very promising, you know? If we can get them to jam their last AA or something like that, we should be pretty good. Bombardment. Nice. I think at this point we just play cards, right? We're starting to get the trades that we're looking for, like a Dahlia, John come out, Radovid's been spent, Rafford's been spent. You know, we did something similar here. Reinforcements is not all that expensive. It's kind of like my budget of Dahlia. I want to see like a Henselt or Siege or Amphibious, like these things are kind of important. Just bin the card. We have to be prepared for them possibly also having a heat wave, so not only do we have to draw our scenario, but we have to get it. That's what I'm talking about here. $19.0. So If I take Heatwave here on the Revenant, I think we missed the opportunity to Heatwave the scenario. I think it's scenario Henso. Let's just say we keep it like that. I know I can't win in this case, but at least we got out some things. We just got to pull, like, Radovid would be pretty cool. Siege would be pretty cool. That's hilarious. I got 2 out of 2 when I said it manifested. Bombardment might actually be pretty good, right? And then we can AA into whatever else we need. Problem is we need 2 sieges, so maybe we actually don't. There we go. We could pull out for Pride or something like that, or Carabalista. You have to expect that that they will deal with our scenario, though. Yeah. Okay.
I'm an officer and a gentleman.
Okay. Let's get it done. Heat wave and what? Like, we know they have heat waves somewhere. Do we play Full Test Pride next? Okay, that's not all bad. It kind of takes away the points from them here. I think we take this while we can, right? And then we'll just take the leaders. Just so that we don't take damage on our back row. Something like that, right? It's got to be Radovid next. Radovid with the Full Test Pride finisher, I think. Because I want to get the extra shot at it. We'll play Radovid on range row. We're taking up quite a lot of space. Sure. This is probably like the scariest thing they have. Three damage though is kind of big. Here, like, let's just do it. Just in case they winch it or something, or they use, like... No, they can use their leader, too. Yeah, 3 damage is actually important. Full Test Pride crew. Just hit the Audrin. So they're taking this out. They also get the bleeding there. I don't think it's enough to win, though. We have bombardment still. So we'll take that here. Take that here. use that first. And then we just take that for points. Yeah, that'll do it. Alright, so for the next one here we got Northern Realms Inspired Zeal. And Curse Scroll, I think it might be mages. I think we actually mulligan back Siege. And I think we can afford to mulligan back Amphibious because we'll get it with John. I don't mind doing that. So what are they playing on melee that's so important?
I'm an officer. I'm a gentleman.
We'll put this here so we can get crew easier. Unicorn plays into... Okay. That's not all bad though, right? Is this commandos? It looks like commandos to me. At least we have a soldier out here to get crew. Move it to the other row. It's probably commandos, yeah. So in that event, we'd want to stop the full test. We can't get crew, so we gotta just kind of be patient with it here. I think they might use Roach, so we gotta be careful with that. There. Now let's focus on getting crew here. Because... yeah, what did I say? It is. I don't think they have a Purify. I do think we need John into... like, just have John being flexible. I think it is the lock. Placement is maybe important.
What can I do for you?
Yeah, I think I'm alright with that. We just lock it, because even if we move back, they'll find a way to get in behind it, so... Wide punish here would be really good. So if I was to go into a crew... okay. Hensel into... it's still probably just this. Henselt here feels kind of bad, you know what I mean? I just wish there was a way to turn this online, but I'm not too worried about like the amount of commandos that they played. It's probably just that. So they use Iroquois, Donimir, full test, and we might have some room to bleed a little bit here. They've got 4. They could be siege as well. Like, that's also something to watch out for. Winch is pretty good. We kind of want something for crew later, so we'll just keep like that. Bombardment might not be as good. Okay. So maybe I do bleed with this. We can go John into, like, anything. Siege. We should be able to get a second proc out of them, though, right? Reinforcements could be valuable. I think we actually go and take a thin, because we don't have access to our siege. It's going to be, I think it's the ballista we take here. And we'll use it. Because we're probably passing at 6. It's hard to say, though. Like, we're in a decent spot. Okay, yeah. That's a pretty big turn. That kind of changes my perspective on the round. They've got a 1 for 3 shot at hitting that. That's not too big. Yeah, that's alright. So we got to get rid of a couple things. This is important. Reinforcements might actually be good as well. Yeah. You see the line? I think that's the play. We've got a lot of engines going on here. They've got 3. So we'll try and take these both out. This is actually kind of bad too, but here. Yeah, I want to make sure they don't winch. Just use 1 leader. Should be okay. If I get a pass here, I'll take it. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. Like, full test pride can come down, no problem. If that's boiling oil, we should just be fine. Yeah, so that's actually kind of bad. 2 and 1 gets the tie, right? Nice. Super difficult for me to want to pass now that we have the opportunity, but I think we're supposed to pass. Because now we have 1 up on them, right? They've used the leader charges a little bit. They use siege, Raffords, all that type of stuff. Okay, that's unfortunate. Something gives me the feeling, though, that they're going to be bringing these commandos back. I think we dump bombardment. We're looking for... There we go. That's about as good as it's going to get. We jam scenario and just hope for the best. They're on devotion, so they might have a heat wave. Yeah, so there they are. That's okay, though. I think Foltest Pride's going to be really good in this match. And I think our win conditions them not having Heat Wave, but Oniro into Heat Wave here is... Oh, okay. I didn't think that they'd be able to fit it, you know? Now, we're going to get a lackluster bombardment if they don't start playing cards here. Keep in mind, I think they had, what, 4 commandos? Yeah. I think it's still a winch. Lock and reset. Putting down the framework is probably just too important, right? We need to get these engines online. I don't want to start wasting more winches here. 16 points off commandos is not that great anyways. If they amphibious assault one out, we have a heat wave for it too, which is kind of nice. 3 leader charges. I think we should be okay. We do kind of mess... Oh, they use that instead. We can start getting value from these right away though. Here. So it's probably... Okay, it's probably setting up all the engines first. It's really easy to like not... Yeah. We'll just do it that way. Should just be good. Might be our best heat wave, but I think we still... Here. We'll focus on like one at a time, you know? Okay, there we go. I wonder if this is my deck. Starting to see some reckless flurry on the ladder all of a sudden. Now, this will be the last one for today. I'm actually pretty worried about it, if I'm being honest. We might have to swing a little bit in round 1, take round control, right? Maybe we jam Siege early on, because it might get Heat Wave late game if they pull their cards. I don't really want to risk reinforcements unless they board wipe. We kind of want our damage to go to good use, so maybe we take away Boiling. Bombardment's okay, I guess, if we could pull off the scenario. So, that's what we'll do. They must have missed their discard stuff. 14 points. Yeah, we gotta cram it here. They will likely bond those this turn. If I take Henselt, it's going to be for probably Frigate. Just so we're getting those passive points. Is it cheating if I pull up my own deck list? I don't think so. Good morning, guys. Welcome back. Oops. I might get myself in the recording for a second. I'm just fishing on YouTube. I think it just... I don't know it's my deck. I'm just referencing it, right? Okay. Kind of a little bit helpful. So Henselt will come down. You know, I was gonna say... I was actually gonna say something else, but I think it's gonna be this. Because that will spawn here. The cooldown's just wild on this. 2 and 1. Yeah. And hopefully by the time we get to 7 here, we can just really tempo. We'll play something else with cooldown, probably like a Caraballista beside it. Like, I'm really banking on the fact that we win this round, guys. I have Megascopes too in my deck. I don't know. Here we'll take. I think it's still take. It's pretty good. That keeps us up. Okay, so now there's hope. They gain 6 points on turn end, which puts them to 17, plus potential 6 off that, plus whatever they play. At least we sort of have them round trap, just like a little bit. It would be nice to get crew on something, but I don't really play around soldiers that much. Maybe we take Rafford. I have the Harpooner as well. Yeah, okay, I'm pretty convinced. Let's see here. I think we have to do some damage control. Okay, so if I take this... 2 and 1. We do lose a point, but it's better than nothing. And then we'll just make it so that they don't have, like, a good truffle. Imagine Igni. I don't think we spend... Well, if I put Radovid down on, like, an established board, it's kind of good, right? Maybe that's what we gem next. Because I think if I go into round 2 with them, then it's going to be one of those things where they can just use like a leader charge and just get rid of it. Like 1 leader Junit, or like 2 leaders, or like, you know, pretty much anything. Leader slash. That's actually a really good Morkvarg here. They will pass, I think. Yeah. Do we mind? Like, not a whole lot. Now I think we just try and play them down and get some charges out of the way. There's no sense in passing here. Now we want to save some cards. Yeah, we need some good cards for later. If I can pull into Amphibious, like, it's a pretty good goal this round. So this is kind of weak. That's good. Boiling Oil, I don't think is going to get much value in this matchup. That's actually pretty good. So... Caraballista, I think. That's perfect. And if it sticks, we'll just make a copy of it, stick it in here, and then we can get, like, the double Caraballista going. There's that, or there's War Chariot, but I think War Chariot's, like, pretty good for long round. Hopefully they don't snipe it, too. Hit the 5. Okay. That's alright. Here. Let's take that down. I think it's still this. Reduce the cooldown. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't want to commit too much here, but that's a good savagery. Yeah, I put those as well. So we'll take this out just in case they res. It's probably just that as well. Get the extra point. And then we can go amphibious into something. Frigate could be good. Just because we have the warfare. There's Fukusha.
Best drown yourself with those damn nets.
I feel like we're like still supposed to play. This actually feels pretty good. Take that, and then we could just use 1 leader charge. And I'm hitting the half root because, like, we're gonna get rid of it here. Went into Lambert, I'm thinking. Okay. That's actually a really good swing. We still play. I think it's not actually frigate. I want to wait. Did I miss a point on that? I might have actually missed a point on that. We'll see. Just because I'm expecting a heat wave at some point.
What you gonna do?
Okay. Melee gives bleeding. Maybe it's time to just do something like that. I mean, there's nothing really to lock in this deck, though.
What can I do for you?
There's the second leader. See if we can get one more.
I fish breath. How dare you, foul swine?
Do we ever 26-13? I wonder if we ever use this. 2 points there, this there. Heat wave. This is probably better in a bit of a longer round. Yeah, especially when we can like warm it up again with 3 leaders. So I'm expecting like a Junid, maybe location, and then like couple bronzes kind of thing. These are pretty slow. This might get some good trade. Alright, maybe we play a little bit non-interactive here. I think we'll be seeing a heat wave shortly though. I don't want to give that bleeding. Here. If I take boiling oil off of it, we take bombardment next. We should kill maybe both things that they have out there. It's just the longer we wait, the longer we're preventing these from looking good. That's the only thing. Okay, so we have to play. I suppose we risk it all. I think we might get trapped here like on a heat wave, but we'll see. Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful. We go down.
So give, yeah, I suppose. Nah, it's probably Junid and something else. We gotta be careful. Like, we might be able to win with just the 5 points that we have, plus the 6 off leader.
Gotcha. No, 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 damn it.
Okay. Heals does 4. We missed the 2 bleeding. It's still better. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. 13. We have 11. 14, we have 11, yeah. See, if we got the bleeding out there a little bit sooner, maybe it would have been a win for us.